Happy New Year, college football fans. Welcome in to College Football Now by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Happy to have you with us. On today's show, we have the updated transfer portal team rankings, courtesy of On3 and 24/7 Sports. Where does your team stack up? We'll tell you in just a few moments from right now. Before we do, got to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You ain't alive if you ain't subscribed to Chat Sports, as we cover college football like no one else does. We're sending a team to Los Angeles for the College Football National Championship game. We'll have that covered. We also have the transfer portal and recruiting, the NFL draft, and everything in between. It's all in one place. Subscribe today, youtube.com/@chatsports. If you love college football, you need to subscribe now, youtube.com/@chatsports. So On3's rankings are a little bit different compared to 24/7 Sports. On3 takes into account what you've gained and what you've lost. 24/7 Sports looks at just what you've gained. Let's start with the On3 rankings. North Carolina, under Mack Brown, hops in at number 10. We've seen Mack Brown do a really good job at bringing in talent into that North Carolina Tar Heel program. He's continued to do that once again. Number 9 is USC, and if you watch the Cotton Bowl, you know that team needs some help on defense, especially trying to find some physicality there, and USC hoping to improve upon this year, where they lost 3 total games, including their final 2 games against Utah and Tulane. Number 8 on our list, we don't have to go very far. That's where we find UCLA. Chip Kelly doing an impressive job with that program and bringing in some really good talent. We'll tell you more about what UCLA is bringing to the table coming up in just a bit. Meanwhile, number 7 on On3's list is the Washington Huskies. Washington coming off a bounce-back year. Remember, last season they only won 4 games. This year, they were in the Alamo Bowl, played much better football this year, and it looks like they're on track building that program to get back in good shape. And number 6 is where we find the Michigan Wolverines. In Michigan, this is a team that fell short in the college football playoff, losing to TCU, but we've seen them make significant gains both on the recruiting trail and the transfer portal within the last couple of seasons, and this year was no exception. Jim Harbaugh brings in 7 players so far, including Josaiah Stewart, an edge rusher out of Coastal Carolina, and then a quarterback within the conference. Jack Tuttle comes over from Indiana University, where he'll be joining the Wolverines. Now, as far as Michigan's future goes, we're at that point now where we're starting to ask the same questions that we were asking at this time a year ago, if Jim Harbaugh will leave for the National Football League. And with Michigan looking like they're going to bring in a top 10 class when it comes to the transfer portal, is Jim Harbaugh going to be a part of that said class in the future? With the report that was out today that if he gets an NFL offer, that he will leave for the National Football League. So will we see the fruits of Harbaugh's labor pay off? Will he stick around for this, or will he bolt for the National Football League? That's a very interesting storyline right now, right in the midst of this transfer portal season. Will Harbaugh leave? If you think he will, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Let me know in the comment section below. If you think Jim Harbaugh is gone, Y for yes, in for no. Looking more into the rankings from On3, number 5 is UCF, and you got to give credit to this UCF program. They're moving into the Big 12 Conference, and Gus Malzahn is bringing together a roster that is a Big 12 worthy, Big 12 caliber group with what they've put together. Number 4 is Michigan State. We've talked a lot on this program about Mel Tucker and what he's been able to do in the transfer portal. They rebuilt themselves pretty fast a couple years ago because of how effective Mel Tucker has been in the transfer portal, and this year we're seeing that happen again. Number 3 is the Florida State Seminoles, and Florida State, we'll talk about them more coming up later on, but what a group that we've seen Mike Norvell put together there at Florida State. And think about this too. There's been a lot of pressure on Mike Norvell, not only to get back to the winning ways and the tradition of that Florida State program, but you have Deion Sanders, who is arguably the greatest player to ever wear the uniform and would love to have that job. And you have to think, if you're Mike Norvell, you have to be able to show that you can recruit to that level to see comparably what Deion has done. And that's where we find number 2, Colorado, on this list, with Deion Sanders' crew has been outstanding. 16 transfers they brought in so far. The last time that we did an update, a couple weeks ago, their number was around 7 or 8, and now they've doubled that. And bringing guys like Travis Hunter. We knew that Deion was going to bring his son, but it's been more than that. 16 guys so far, and they are just getting better. And you have to expect that this team is going to take a major step up in 2023 with what Deion Sanders has been able to do to win on the recruiting trail and in the transfer portal. Very impressive. He's only been there a couple weeks, and for me, it's an A effort what we've seen so far from Coach Prime. How would you grade Coach Prime's first class at Colorado? Let me know in the comment section. Type A, B, C, D, or F what you think Coach Prime has done so far in the transfer portal at this point. Are you wasting money on your subscriptions? 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about. Maybe for you it's an unused Amazon Prime account or a Hulu account that never gets streamed. There's a great app I use that helps me track all my expenses, and because of it, I no longer waste money on subscriptions I don't even use. You might have heard of it. It's called Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. The app shows all your subscriptions in one place and then cancels for you whenever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you don't even know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for a subscription. To cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Go to rocketmoney.com/NFL Daily. Seriously, it can save you hundreds per year. That's rocketmoney.com/NFL Daily. So there is the top 5. You can see the next team on that list. Number 1 is the Arizona State Sun Devils. Arizona State has a new head coach. Kenny Dillngham comes to Tempe, and he is totally reloading that roster there in the state of Arizona. 19 players so far have committed from the portal to come to Arizona State, including Drew Pyne, the former quarterback from Notre Dame, and Jake Smith, wide receiver from USC. You can see that Arizona State right away is going to bring in some talented players to this roster, and at 19, we'll see how much more they can add at this point. They're not done in the portal at this point in time. Let's look at 24/7's rankings. And 24/7, we mentioned a little bit different. They don't factor in what you've lost. It's all about what you've gained, and that's where Kentucky finds themselves at number 10 in the portal rankings. And you look at this Kentucky program, Mark Stoops has done a terrific job there. They've been a consistent team now, and now they're looking to build upon that there at Kentucky at this point in time. Number 9 is UCLA. Chip Kelly. We told you we would tell you a little bit more about Chip Kelly's program. 7 transfers in coming to Westwood. And you get a tight end right there in your conference. You also bring in Spencer Holstege, an offensive lineman from Purdue. Watch out for UCLA. Much has been made about Lincoln Riley and USC or Coach Prime at Colorado, but don't be sleeping on the UCLA Bruins of what they could potentially do in the Pac-12 Conference. And remember, they're getting ready to gear up for the Big Ten in 2024. Meanwhile, the Washington Huskies fall in at number 8 in 24/7 Sports rankings. Number 7 is North Carolina. And for North Carolina, the biggest thing for them this transfer portal season is the fact that they kept Drake May. There was much that was made about if May would enter the portal and try to get more money through NIL to another big-time program, or what he would do to ready himself for next year's NFL draft. Instead, he stays in Chapel Hill, and that's the biggest win of all for North Carolina, is knowing that they have a future first-round quality quarterback coming back to North Carolina next year. Number 6 is Michigan State, and we mentioned Mel Tucker being very active in the transfer portal this year. 13 players are going to be making their way to East Lansing, and in particular, I'm watching out for Jaylan Franklin, the tight end out of Wisconsin, already within the Big Ten Conference, makes his way to Michigan State. Sparty is going to be very interesting to see what they can do to take that next step. We've seen them be able to win football games, but What about winning the league under Mel Tucker? Can they hang with Michigan, with Ohio State, with Penn State? Can they take that next step forward? We'll see. 13 players coming in at this point. Who's the biggest winner in the transfer portal so far, whether it's a team or a player or a coach? Give me one name in the comments section of who you think the biggest winner of the transfer portal so far is in 2023. Back to the rankings we go. Number 5, we mentioned Arizona State falls in this spot according to 24/7 Sports with all the players they're bringing in, including Drew Pyne. Michigan slides in at number 4. Overall, both good ratings for both programs to be in the top 5 in both rankings, even with the losses that have occurred. Then number 3 is LSU. The Tigers under Brian Kelly got a big-time bowl win, and we know that they were a lot better team in the second half of last year. Be very interesting to see what Brian Kelly does with that LSU program in year number 2. Number 2, we find Colorado. Talked about them earlier, of the progress that Deion Sanders has made with that program, with them making a lot of noise on the trail at this point. And number 1 in 24/7's rankings is Florida State. And Florida State's bringing in 9 players so far at this point in time, including Fentrell Cypress, a cornerback from the University of Virginia. Cypress at that corner position was arguably as good as any player in the transfer portal so far this year. A big impact to see a guy go to Florida State, stays in the ACC, might I add as well. And then Jaheim Bell, the tight end from South Carolina, a mass exodus at the tight end position at South Carolina. Remember, Austin Stogner ended up going back to Oklahoma. You lose Bell as well. Pretty short-handed for Shane Beamer and company at that tight end spot, but a big win for Florida State there, and they're number 1 according to 24/7 Sports. Before we go, who is the biggest loser of the transfer portal so far? Give me one name who comes to mind who the biggest loser is. As always, you can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. I'll see you next time right here on College Football Now. Thanks for joining us.